Okay, welcome to our council meeting, May the 30th, and I'll call this meeting to order at 6:02 p.m. There are no addendums or corrections to the agenda. Any disclosure of pecuniary interest with anything on this agenda from members of council? Okay. We did have a closed session. I don't think we have anything that came out of the closed session. It was so long ago I can't remember. No presentations, announcements, approval and adoption of the minutes. We have 3 sets of minutes here. I have a recommendation that the minutes of the council meeting held March 28th, April 27th, 2022, and the special council meeting held March 2nd, 2022 be adopted as circulated. Moved by Councillor McElwain, seconded by Councillor Dunsmore. All in favor? And that's carried. I don't have a county report today. I'll bring that at our next council meeting. And in the interest of time, we'll also bring the councillor committee updates at our next council meeting as well. Item 11, we have a report from Committee of the Whole from May 24th. And we have 9 items there. Councillor Foster.
Thank you, Mayor. Could we separate item 2, please? I'm not in favor of item 2, so I'd like to vote separately and speak to it.
Yes, we'll pull out item 2. Okay, so I'll read the first recommendation of the Council of the Township of Centre Wellington. Approve report items 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 from the Committee of the Whole report dated May 24th, 2022. Mover for that, Councillor McCrae, second by Councillor Dunsmore. All in favor? And that's carried. The second recommendation of the Council of the Township of Centre Wellington approve item 2 from the report from the Committee of the Whole dated May 24th, 2022. A mover for that, please. Councillor Dunsmore, second by Councillor McCrae. Comments from Council? Councillor Foster?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm opposed to this matter, the condominium plan, for about 4 reasons. Number one, what has been proposed is much different than all the adjacent neighborhood. Primarily, I'm opposed because here we are, we talk about active transportation and trying to get people walking rather than using their vehicles, yet here we are approving a subdivision without any sidewalks, and that's my primary opposition. So I'm not in favor of this item.
Any other comments on item 2? All in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. No delegations today. The first report that we have is the 2022 tax rate, and we have a report from our Managing Director of Corporate Services and Treasurer, Adam McNabb. Welcome, Adam.
Thank you, Mayor Linton. And through you, this report is predominantly housekeeping in nature. Per the Municipal Act, the Township is responsible to set tax rates for each year and pass a bylaw to levy such tax rates on the assessed values of each class of property in the municipality to satisfy the obligations of the annual budget. The 2022 budget was passed in December 2021, and the County of Wellington has passed their bylaw to establish tax policy for 2022 for all member municipalities. With these prerequisites now in place, the Township is able to pass a bylaw to set the 2022 rates and tax due dates, which have been determined to be June 30th and September 29th for residential properties, and September 29th and November 30th for non-residential and multi-res. Once approved, tax bills will be mailed beginning as early as tomorrow. Thank you.
Thanks, Adam, for that. And I'll read the recommendation, then turn it over to Council. Recommendation that the Council of the Township of Centre Wellington adopt a bylaw to set the Township tax rates for 2022. Moved by Councillor Dunsmore, seconded by Councillor McElwain. Any discussion from Council? All in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Moving on to 13.2, the right to disconnect from work policy. That would work pretty nicely for us today, Rashid. I wouldn't mind disconnecting right now. Over to you.
Well, thank you very much, Mayor Linton, through you. In the light of recent changes introduced by the Government of Ontario and Working for Workers Act 2021, there's a bill passed, Bill 27, which requires all employers who have more than 25 employees at the beginning of the year to adopt a policy calling it right to disconnect from work. Right to disconnect from work is defined as email communications, phone calls, or any kind of contact after your contracted work hours. So we are drafting this policy, and with your approval, we are supposed to circulate this within 30 days. But the deadline set by the government was June 2nd, so every municipality, every employer is writing these policies. There are some exceptions for sure that you can be called into work for certain reasons if you are on call or if your job description requires you or your job contract. But it actually encourages all managers and all staff to be aware of, burnout and what kind of health and safety and mental health risk it poses to be on your devices. And there is an understanding that you are required to respond to those emails, and it definitely affects the work-life balance. So that's the whole gist of this policy. So any questions, I'll be willing to take those.
Thanks very much, Rashid. I'll read the recommendations, then turn it to Council. That the Council of the Township of Centre Wellington adopts the right to disconnect from work policy as presented. Moved by Councillor Dunsmore, seconded by Councillor McCrae. Any questions, comments from Council? Councillor McCrae.
Thank you, through you, Mayor Linton, to Rashid. I like the policy. I just would like to make a suggestion of a slight change in wording under 2.0 purpose. At the very end of the last sentence, whether it's possible to just add, and during vacation or other leave entitlements as required by law, contract, and or applicable collective agreement, just to sort of reinforce it's just not normal working hours. People may be on vacation or off for other reasons, and they shouldn't be bothered. And then I have one question as well. Will a copy of this new policy be given to the new council as part of their orientation so that they're aware of this expectation?
Rashid.
Thank you. Through you to Mayor Linton, yes, absolutely. So Councillor McCrae, I can add that, and if you can give me that in writing, we can just amend this policy. This is the first attempt. When we start circulating this, I think we will have feedback from managers as well. This policy may have to be rewritten a few times. The legislation actually gives us that to circulate it every time we update that. And definitely it could be part of the orientation package for new council.
Councillor Foster.
Thank you, Mayor. Rashid, I understand the policy, and I'm generally in favor of it. My only concern is, as councillors, we're in touch with the public, often in evenings, weekends. Is there anything here that would preclude us from sending an email and not necessarily expecting a response? If you meet with a constituent at 8 o'clock in the evening, you might wish to send the note while it's fresh in your mind and fully not expecting a response till business hours. Is there any reason we could not do that?
Councillor Foster, very good question, and it does not stop you to write to somebody, especially for council relation with senior management team. So you are given that opportunity to write to the CAO and the senior executive team here for sure, but not expecting a response overnight would be a preference. So the manager who's managing that inquiry should respond to that as soon as possible in the morning. So as long as that's expectation, that expectation is clear with council members, there's no problem in that. You can write to, just the council can write to the CAO or the executive team at your leisure, whatever time you prefer.
Mover and seconder, can we add the words as amended? Councillor Dunsmore, Councillor McCrae? Okay. All in favor of this recommendation as amended? And that's carried. Thanks very much, Rashid. Moving on to 13.3, request for proposal number 0222, engineering services pavement management plan. And we have Adam coming to the podium. Report was written by Sandy, but Adam's going to present it. Adam.
If I may just introduce it and then have Adam answer any technical
Oh.
questions, if that's all right.
Yeah, that's the Adam I meant.
Very good. Thank you, Mayor Linton. And again, through you, this report provides recommendations and seeks council approval for award of RFP 02-22 for engineering services relative to the pavement management plan. The recommendation is that council authorize the award of RFP 02-22 to GM Blue Plan Engineering Limited at a contract price of $83,820 exclusive of net HST. The proposal was issued in accordance with the township's purchasing and procurement bylaw. There were 7 plan takers and 5 responses received. Responses were evaluated and scored by the selection committee, and the results of the evaluation are reflected in staff's recommendations being presented today. Recommended award represents award to the highest scored proponent. However, it is over the approved budget by approximately $15,300. The budget shortfalls funding is being recommended from the General Capital Reserve. Thank you.
Thanks, Adam. Do you want to speak to this first? Okay, go ahead, Adam.
Great. Yeah, thank you, Adam McNabb. And through you, Mayor Linton, to members of council. So just to provide a little more context here. And this is a study to complete pavement condition assessment of the township's approximately 257 centerline kilometers of paved roads and develop a 10-year capital plan to prioritize paved road investments. The capital plan will help the township to maximize our investments in paved roads through establishing which roads are candidates for life cycle interventions versus full replacement. The findings will feed into the township's asset management planning and annual budget process. The consulting team that we are recommending award to is highly specialized in completing these types of assessments. GM Blue Plan is a leader in municipal asset management. IRIS technology which is proposed to be used for the condition assessment, is a proven technology. It's been used successfully by other municipalities. And we also have 4 roads management, so Dave Anderson on the project team, who completed the gravel roads assessment. So this rounds out a very strong project team. Thank you, and if you have any questions, happy to answer them.
Thanks very much, Adam. And Adam, however, I'll read the recommendation, then turn it to council. That the council of the Township of Centre Wellington award request for proposal number 02-22 engineering services pavement management plan to GM Blue Plan Engineering Limited at a contract price of $83,820 excluding HST. And that the council of the Township of Centre Wellington directs staff to fund the anticipated budget overrun from the General Capital Reserve to an upset limit of $15,295.23. Moved by Councillor McElwain, seconded by Councillor Dunsmore. Questions, comments from council? Councillor McCrae.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Linton. Adam, is there an anticipated delivery date for the report?
Yes, through you, Mayor Linton. Thank you, Councillor McCrae, for the question. So we're trying to wrap this one up by the end of calendar year.
Councillor Dunsmore.
So Adam, is it your intention that once this report is done, it'll be similar to the bridge report where we get a list of roads and they're going to be fixed on a particular date? So when a resident calls, I can say, your road's going to get done in this year. Is that what we're doing here?
Yeah, through you, Mayor Linton. So, Councillor Dunsmore, great question. Maybe not exactly, but what we're hoping is that it's going to give us a priority of roads that we should start with.
Okay.
And that we would then take that into consideration when we build our budget. So certainly it would form the kind of the backbone of that type of schedule, but I wouldn't say the report would in itself provide that level of detail in terms of, this year do this project. It would more be, here are the ones you prioritize.
Okay. Councillor McElwain.
Thanks, Mayor. Kind of a follow-on to Councillor Dunsmore's question, I guess. The IRIS technology is kind of new, isn't it? We haven't used it before here in the township. GM Blue Plan have not used it here before, have they?
Yes, so through the mayor, thank you, Councillor McElwain. So it is, I would call it proven technology. We have not used it in the township, no, but it's been used by other municipalities. City of Guelph is currently using it. City of London, Grey Highlands. There was a recent article on Grey Highlands adopting this technology. So it is a proven technology, I would say, and a local company also based out of Burlington.
Councillor McElwain.
Thanks. It looks like it's great technology, and so I wasn't questioning that. I was just wondering, though, if following on Neil's question, will there be kind of review of this over, you know, every X number of years and reprioritization and stuff using the same technology?
Colin?
Through Mayor Linton to Councillor McElwain. So, yeah, certainly. So our level of service, if you will, for condition assessments for the asphalt surfaces is every 4 years. So that's kind of the cycle we've selected to update condition, and then that informs our asset management plan update, which then informs our capital program updates as well. So every 4 years is how we would reassess.
So this $83,000 is something that we can, or the equivalent, you know, 197,000 after inflation next time. Anyhow, whatever the number is, and we can expect that every 4 years. Then it's, even though it's a 10-year plan, we're going to have to go through the 4-year cycle.
Yeah, I believe they're already in the budget, in the 10-year capital at that 4-year increment.
Councillor Foster?
Thank you, Mayor. It'll come as no surprise. I'm going to speak against this recommendation. 10 years ago in this municipality, we had no engineers on staff. I'm looking at 2 of the best in the business right here. We have 2 others. That's 4 PNs on staff. I don't see why we can't do this work ourselves, so I'm opposed to this. I think we ought to spend the money actually fixing the roads rather than hiring a consulting firm to study the problem.
Anything else from council? All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Moving on to, thank you, Adam and Adam. Moving on to request for proposal 2122, consulting services for site development for the Operations Center. Again, purchasing and risk supervisor authored the report, and Adam are going to be speaking to it. Adam McNabb.
Thank you, Your Worship. And again, through you, this report provides recommendations and seeks council approval for award of RFP 21-22 for consulting services relative to site development for the new Operations Center. Recommendation is that the council authorize the award of RFP 21-22 to RDH Architects, Inc. to a total upset limit of $432,018.87. The proposal was issued in accordance with the township's purchasing procurement bylaw. There were 9 plan takers and 2 responses received. Responses were evaluated by and scored by the selection committee, and the results of the evaluation are reflected in the staff recommendations being presented today. Recommended award represents the award to the highest scored proponent and falls within budget approved for this project. Thank you.
Adam?
Great. Yeah, thanks again, Adam. Through you, Mayor Linton. So this study is the next step in the process of constructing a new operations center for the Township of Centre Wellington. The scope includes rezoning of lands currently zoned as agricultural to accommodate construction of an operations center, and the technical studies required to support site development. It also includes rezoning of lands on the east side of Gartshore, which are currently zoned as future development, to accommodate development of existing employment lands in this area. So some of the technical studies proposed to be completed as part of the scope include, but are not limited to, surveys, base plans, geotechnical and hydrogeological investigations, excess soil management, traffic and noise studies, tree and natural environment surveys, functional servicing requirements, stormwater management, cultural heritage assessment, concept designs for build-out, and updated construction cost estimates. So it's a very multidisciplinary scope of work here to be able to develop the site. Note that the scope of work does not include the detailed design of the facility. This is proposed to be completed in the next phase of work. However, this study will include all of the technical information needed to feed into the detailed design seamlessly. Technical studies are proposed to be completed by December of this year, and then the site rezoning process and remaining works will be completed by April of 2023. Thank you.
Thanks, Adam. I'll read the recommendation. The Council of the Township of Centre Wellington award request for proposal number 21-22, Consulting Services Site Development Operations Center to RDH Architects, Inc. at a total upset limit of $432,018.87, excluding HST. Can I get a mover for that, please? Councillor McCrae, second by Councillor Dunsmore. Questions from council? Councillor McElwain.
I just want to voice my opposition to this one more time. I think it should be deferred. I don't think there's a business case for it yet. I don't think we should be rezoning farmland for it. And I could go on over a much longer list if anybody requests it. It's just, we're not ready for this operations center. There's no business case to do it.
Councillor Foster?
Thank you, Mayor. As I've said in the past, this operations center is an albatross. I've never seen a strong business case that supports it. We're going to borrow, this building will touch $30 million when it's all is said and done, and we're going to borrow most of the money to do it. That to me is a potential financial problem. I've never agreed to building this building. We've got 5 good buildings. I know they are older. I felt right from the beginning we should have invested in those buildings. And keep in mind, most of the work is done on the streets and exercising the valves. Most of our operations don't occur in the building. They occur out in the community. This is an albatross, and I'm not in favor of it, and I cannot support it.
Councillor Dunsmore?
Adam, can you just confirm for me that the dollars for this project and for everything related to the operations center, whether we borrow it or not, is coming at a DC charge?
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Dunsmore, through Mayor Linton. So just in summary, 93% of the project is growth related and to be funded through the debt payments would be funded through development charges. The other 7% is funded through the sale of land. So there are no tax dollars or wastewater rates used to construct the property.
Councillor McCray? Anything?
Sorry, Mayor Linton, through you. No, I'm in favor of this.
Councillor Foster?
Thank you, Mayor. My question is for Dan Wilson. Dan, I don't believe you justify borrowing money because it's funded from DCs rather than taxation. My question to you, sir, is who will service this loan if there, in a year when there are no DCs collected, if there ever should be a year when there is no development or very little? Who will pay the loan payments?
Dan?
Thank you, Councillor Foster, through Mayor Linton. We do carefully monitor development charges from a cash flow perspective. There is significant amount of growth projected for Centre Wellington between now and 2041 and beyond to 2051. We monitor our debt capacity on an annual basis, so I feel like we have the proper precautions in place and moving forward. So I think that's everything.
Thanks, Dan. Follow on, Councillor Foster?
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Dan, but you haven't really answered my question. My question is very simple. In a year when there are no DCs collected and there are loan payments to make, how will we make those loan payments? I didn't question about debt capacity. My question was cash flowing loan payments. How will we pay the payments in a year when there are no DCs collected?
Would you wish to answer that hypothetical question? Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Foster. Through Mayor Linton, just to add to my comments, if we have years where there are limited DCs or no DCs, we would make changes during the annual budget process to limit the use of DCs so that existing cash flow can be used within the DC Reserve Fund to pay for the debt payments.
Thanks, Dan. There's a different question. Councillor Foster, third question.
Thank you, Mayor. Dan, you and I studied accounting. We don't make loan payments with changes to a budget. We make them with cash. If we don't collect DCs, we can't service the debt. I'd like a direct answer. How will we make those loan payments if ever we have a year when no DCs are collected? The housing market is overvalued. Potentially, we may not have DCs in a particular year. You can't cash flow loan payments with anything but money. How do we do that?
Dan?
Thank you, Councillor Foster. Through Mayor Linton, when I was referring to through the budget process, I was referring to other uses of development charges where we use it to fund capital or DC credits, we would make accommodations to ensure that cash flow would be available to fund debt payments. And we do, in a sense, fund debt payments from a cash flow perspective through the budget process. So, yeah, I think that's everything.
Thanks, councillors. I have a couple comments. Again, a key fact here, no tax dollars are being spent on this operations center. Another key fact is that any of the councillors who went on the road tour and saw saw what our current centers are in the Township of Centre Wellington should know pretty clearly that there's a need for substantial investment in our operations where our staff are working out of. I think that should be clear, and I think we've done all that we can to maintain the current facilities, and there comes a time with every growing municipality where you have to make serious decisions about investing in your facilities. This is to provide core services to our residents, core services. This is just not a nice thing to do. This is a need, and I'm absolutely 100% in favor of this. All in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. 13.5, request for tender 19-22, asphalting of various roads. Again, we have Adam team here. Adam?
Thank you, Your Worship. This report provides recommendations and seeks council approval for award of RFT 19-22 for asphalting of various roads within the township. Recommendation is the council authorize the award of request for tender 19-22 to the Murray Group Limited at a contract price of $1,720,000, $951.10, including contingency and excluding HST. The tender was issued in accordance with the township's purchasing and procurement bylaw. There were 11 plan takers and 4 responses received. The recommended proponent was established in consultation with the township's consulting engineer, Triton Engineering, and represents the lowest responsible bidder for this project. Overall, the project is within approved funding allocations. However, reallocations were required between tax-supported projects, and the top-up of gas tax funding was required for the 8th line west segment of this project. Thank you.
Adam?
Yes, thanks again, Adam. Through you, Mayor Linton, to council. So just to provide a bit more detail on the scope here. So we're doing surface asphalt paving of High Street between York Street and McNabb and Elora, York Street between Victoria and Waterloo and Elora, Princess Street between Church to the dead end in Elora, Elora Street from Tower to Perth and Fergus, Sideroad 18 from Steele Street to St. David Street in Fergus. Rural asphalt paving, 3rd line west, Side Road 5 to Wellington Road 17, 8th line east, Wellington Road 21 to 660 meters south of Side Road 10. Replacement of existing pavement surface, Smith Street, Wellington Road 18 to 5th Street north in Bellwood. Melville Street, Colborne Street to Moore Street in Elora. We're paving the parking lot in the rear of the Centre Wellington Community Sportsplex on Bellside Avenue. We're going to be widening the paved shoulder on Union Street from Athol Street to Brayside Road in Fergus. And then we'll be doing double surface treatment, also referred to as tar and chip, on William Street from Wellington Road 7 to Washington Street in Salem, Victoria Street from Woolwich Street to North Limits in Salem, and Water Street from Woolwich Street to William Street in Salem. Construction is expected to begin this summer and continue through to December of this year. Thank you.
Thanks, Adam. I'll get the recommendation out there that the Council of the Township of Centre Wellington award request for tender number 19-22 regarding the asphalting of various roads to the Murray Group Limited at a contract price of $1,720,951.10, including contingency and excluding HST, and that the funding for the applicable projects be revised as outlined in report COR 2022-26 dated May 30th, 2022. Mover, please. Councillor Dunsmore, second by Councillor McCrae. Comments from council? All in favor? And that's carried. This looks like it's the Adam show, isn't it, today? Wow. 13.6, request for proposal, stormwater master plan. Make sure you thank Sandy for all the work that she did pulling this together. Thanks, Sandy, if you're watching. Over to you, Adam.
Thank you, Mayor Linton, and through you. This report provides recommendations and seeks council approval for award of RFP 30-2022 for the development of a stormwater master plan. The purpose of the RFP was to retain a qualified consulting team to complete a stormwater management master plan in accordance with the municipal class environmental assessment planning and design process. Recommendation is that council authorize award of RFP 30-22 to Wood Environmental and Infrastructure Solutions, a division of Wood Canada Limited, to a total upset limit of $209,814, excluding HST. The proposal was issued in accordance with the Township's purchasing and procurement bylaw. There were 13 plan takers and 6 responses received. Responses were evaluated and scored by the selection committee, and the results of the evaluation are reflected in the staff recommendations being presented today. Township staff are recommending award and funding the budget shortfall to an upset limit of $85,000 from a combination of development charges and the general capital reserve to ensure a timely start to this engagement. However, it should be noted that a grant available via the Intact Foundation in support of municipal climate resiliency has been applied for in support of this initiative, and township staff are eagerly awaiting decision relative to the township's success. Should the township be successful with the application, the internal sources of funding to facilitate the budget top-up will be returned to their respective accounts. Thank you.
Adam?
Okay, thanks again, Adam. Through you, Mayor Linton, to council. So this master plan will provide the township with an understanding of how the existing stormwater system is functioning, identify capacity constraints, evaluate opportunities to improve water quality, and inform short and long-range planning to improve stormwater infrastructure. The plan will consider trends and impacts associated with climate change, and it will account for planned growth in the township to beyond the 2041 timeframe. It will be completed, as Adam mentioned, in accordance with the municipal Class E process, which will streamline the EA approval process for projects identified in the master plan. It will include development of a long-term capital plan for stormwater investments to ensure adequate levels of service now and in the future. And the plan will inform future updates to the DC bylaw and the annual budget process. It requires a multidisciplinary technical team to complete hydraulic. It's going to involve hydraulic modeling, stormwater management system, pipe and pond design, water resources engineers, water quality engineers, and fluvial geomorphologists. And also, as Adam mentioned, we've applied for this grant from Intact Insurance in the amount of $100,000. So we're waiting to hear back on that. Thank you.
Thanks, Adam. Thanks, Adam. I'll read the recommendation that the Council of the Township of Centre Wellington award request for proposal 30-22 Stormwater Management Master Plan to Wood Environmental and Infrastructure Solutions, a division of Wood Canada Limited, at a total upset limit of $209,814, excluding HST, and that the Council of the Township of Centre Wellington directs staff to fund the anticipated budget overrun from development charges 80% or $68,000, and the general capital reserve 20% or $17,000. Mover for this, please, Councillor McElwain, seconded by Councillor Dunsmore. Comments, questions from council? Councillor Foster?
Variations of the same theme, Mayor. We have 4 professional engineers, 2 technologists, and when there's some engineering work to do, we hire a consulting firm. I can't support this. It's a common practice we have that I believe is a problem.
Anything else from council? Councillor McRae?
Thank you, Mayor Linton, through you. Adam, when is the anticipated delivery date for this report?
Yes, thank you, Councillor McRae, for the question. Through you, Mayor Linton. I'll have to take a look at that. This is a longer-term study. Typically, they take about a year to complete these types of master plans. We had that noted in the RFP, unexpected completion time frame, and I can't recall right now when that was, but I believe, yeah. October of this year? Of next year. Thanks, Colin. October of next year for delivery of the report and filing of the notice of study completion. Thank you.
All in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Moving on to 13.7, Victoria Crescent Storm Sewer Class Environmental Assessment. And you're going to take this, Adam? Okay. Thanks, Brett, for the report. Over to you, Adam. Brandon for the report. Sorry, it just said B and I got the wrong B. Sorry. Brandon.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Linton. Through you to council. So the Victoria Crescent Storm Sewer Outlet is a critical piece of infrastructure which provides stormwater drainage for a significant portion of downtown Elora. It was constructed in the 1940s, and it's a buried concrete pipe structure. The outlet runs from Victoria Crescent westwards through two private residential lots, 200 and 190 Victoria Crescent, towards the Irvine Creek Gorge, where it outlets at the exposed rock face. The outlet sewer length is approximately 125 meters. The storm sewer is at the end of its service life and in need of replacement. In 2017, the township completed a CCTV inspection of the sewer outlet to determine if there was a feasible way to rehabilitate the sewer in place. This inspection revealed several major deficiencies, including cross borings for gas services through the sewer and areas of severe deterioration, reinforcing the need to replace the sewer, suggesting that rehabilitation in place would not be feasible. The township initiated a Schedule B municipal class environmental assessment in June of 2017 to identify a preferred alternative for replacing the storm sewer. Through this study, there were 4 alternatives that were considered. The first alternative, and perhaps Lisa or Carrie, if I could get you to just to display the alternative figure, that would be great. Thank you. Yeah, sorry for the lack of a heads up there. Yeah, no problem. Okay, I can start describing the alternatives while we're pulling them up here. So the first alternative is one that you always consider in the municipal class EA study, and that's the do nothing alternative. It was screened out because it wasn't feasible. It doesn't meet our requirement. Alternative 2 was to replace the trunk storm sewer in the same location and maintain the existing outlet. The estimated construction cost for this alternative was approximately $150,000 for construction. Alternative 3 was to decommission and abandon the existing trunk sewer, but keep the outlet structure and install a new trunk sewer along a new alignment that roughly follows the southern boundary of the property located at 200 Victoria Crescent, and to connect to the existing outlet structure. The estimated value of construction for this option was $165,000. The fourth alternative, there was an A and B alternative considered. They're both variations of the same concept, and that's to construct a new sewer along a different route that would not go through these private lands. It would follow municipal rights of way on roads and then outlet to the gorge at a new location. The 4A alternative, the estimate was $715,000, and the 4B alternative, the estimate was $975,000. So substantially more expensive than the alternative 2 and 3 estimates. A public information center was held in November of 2017 to present the alternatives and the technical evaluation to the public. Based on the technical evaluation, comments from all project stakeholders, including those received from the Public Information Center, the preferred alternative is alternative 3, install a new trunk sewer with a similar alignment that utilizes the existing outfall. This alternative is preferred over the others due to the substantially lower cost relative to alternative 4, the new alignment option, and significantly reduced impacts to mature existing trees on private property relative to alternative 2. So staff are seeking council approval to publish the notice of study completion for the municipal class EA study with alternative 3 as the recommended alternative, proposing to post the notice of study completion in the Wellington Advertiser next Thursday. Note that the township has received federal grant funding from the Clean Water and Wastewater Fund to pay for construction of this project in the amount of approximately $197,000, and that this grant funding expires in September of 2023. Thank you. And thank you for the figure.
Is there anything specific on the picture that you want to point out, Adam?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Linton, through you. So you can see here towards the top of the image, you can see the yellow dashed line. That is alternative 3, the preferred alternative. The line just below it, the green line, is the current alignment of the sewer, so that's alternative 2. And then a little more faintly here, but you can see there are other lines that are kind of extending towards the east and then away from the existing sewer, and those were the alternative 4 new alignment options. Thank you.
Okay, and thanks. And so just to clarify, the difference between the green and the yellow, the purpose is to save the trees, more trees.
Yeah, through you, Mayor Linton, that's correct. Yeah, alternative 3, the yellow line, will result in much less impact to the mature trees on those properties.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll read the recommendation, then turn it to council. Recommendation that the Council of the Township of Centre Wellington endorse preferred alternative number 3, construct a new trunk storm sewer outlet along the new alignment following the southerly limit of the property, number 200 Victoria Crescent, connecting to the existing outlet structure located at the rear of number 190 Victoria Crescent, and that council directs staff to publish the notice of study completion for the Victoria Crescent trunk sewer municipal class environmental assessment study in accordance with the requirements of the Environmental Assessment Act. I can move for that. Councillor McCrae, seconded by Councillor Dunsmore. Comments, questions from council? Councillor McCrae.
Thank you, Mayor Linton. Through you, I have 3 questions. The first one, Adam, what is involved in decommissioning a storm sewer?
Yes, through you, Mayor Linton. Thank you for the question, Councillor McCrae. So we would essentially fill the existing pipe with concrete or a similar material that would provide that structural integrity, ensure that there would be no settlement within the pipe that's left in place, but the pipe would be left in place and filled.
So you would be pumping concrete through it as opposed to having to dig it up and put concrete in?
Yeah, that would be the preferred option, absolutely, and the option that we would recommend.
Okay, thank you. My second question is regarding the replacement trees. Will they be planted where there is less likelihood of their being disturbed in 75 years when we have to redo the new storm sewer?
Yes, through the mayor, that seems logical, and I think that's something that we would strive for. We would want to keep that easement clear, or whatever form that those lands take. We would want to keep them clear so we could have access to the sewer if we have to do maintenance on it.
So the existing homeowners would be advised not to plant any trees in the easement area?
Through the mayor, so we could advise them. I believe it would be it would depend on kind of our agreement with them and with respect to what form those lands take, and so hopefully that would be part of an agreement with the owners. Yes.
Okay, thank you. And my final question is, will the structural integrity of the gabion basket wall be evaluated, or are you planning to replace it with something else? That's where the outlet comes out right at the cliff face.
Through Mayor Linton, so that outlet is fairly new. So we wouldn't expect to have any major structural concerns with that. It was constructed, I believe, in the kind of the mid 2000s, like 2006 or 2007. But definitely, something that we could inspect on a regular basis. I think as part of our new consolidated linear infrastructure environmental compliance approval that we're going to have system-wide in the not-too-distant future. We've made the application, as we mentioned to council earlier this year. Outfall inspections will be, I think, become fairly routine for us. And so that'll be an opportunity to inspect that gabion basket wall and see how it's faring over time.
Yep. Anything else from council? All in favor? And that's carried. Thanks very much, Adam. Section 14 is our bylaws. We have 3 bylaws there. I have a recommendation that bylaws 2022-44 through 2022-46 be read a first, second, and third time and passed, signed by the mayor and the clerk, and the corporate seal affixed. I can move for that, please. Councillor McElwain, seconded by Councillor Dunsmore. All in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. And notices of motion. Motions where notice was given, no. Confirmatory bylaw, I have a recommendation that bylaw 2022-47 to confirm the proceedings of council at its meeting held May 30th, 2022 be introduced a first, second, and third time and passed in open council. Moved by Councillor Dunsmore, seconded by Councillor McCrae. All in favor? And that's carried. Motion to adjourn. Councillor McCrae, seconded by Councillor Foster. All in favor? And we are finally adjourned. Thank you very much, council. Sorry for the long day. Thanks, staff. Sorry for the long day. Thanks, Keegan. Sorry for the long day.